Texas. For years, it has been the land of opportunity, a state that promised affordability, growth, and wide-open potential. Families flocked here from California, New York, Illinois, and beyond, chasing cheaper homes, lower taxes, and booming job markets. Cities like Austin, Dallas, and Houston became symbols of America's new migration wave. But now, in 2025, the cracks are showing. What was once marketed as endless prosperity has turned into one of the most fragile housing markets in the nation. Prices that once doubled in less than a decade are now slipping. Inventory is piling up. Sellers are slashing prices while buyers retreat. Job losses in key sectors are spreading. Outmigration, unthinkable just a few years ago, is beginning to hollow out the demand that fueled this boom. The Texas housing miracle is unraveling, and some of its biggest cities are facing what analysts now call the fastest collapsing housing markets in the country. For millions of families, the American dream in Texas is turning into a nightmare. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to Discover the Nation. We bring you the hidden stories shaping America's housing market and economy. Stories the headlines won't tell you. Now let's count down the 10 fastest collapsing housing markets in Texas in 2025.
Number 10. Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi, the coastal hub of South Texas, is now flashing some of the clearest warning signs of a housing collapse. For years, it was marketed as an affordable alternative to Houston or Austin, powered by its port, energy sector, and Gulf front lifestyle. During the pandemic boom, buyers rushed in and investors treated Corpus as the next big prize. Home values soared more than 40% in just a few years, stunning longtime residents who had once enjoyed steady affordability. But in 2025, those gains are unraveling fast. Inventory has more than doubled, and homes that once sold in a week now sit unsold for months. Price cuts are everywhere, with sellers slashing tens of thousands to attract buyers. Even in desirable coastal neighborhoods, demand is vanishing. For middle-class families, affordability has collapsed. Wages don't match inflated values, and higher interest rates have priced many out entirely. The local economy compounds the crisis. Job losses in energy and shipping are hitting hard, while hurricane risks and skyrocketing insurance premiums are forcing families to sell or abandon homes. Some households now pay more for insurance than their mortgage, an impossible burden that accelerates the downturn. Investors who once poured money into Corpus Christi are retreating, leaving behind vacant properties and stalled developments. Rental demand is weakening, short-term rentals face tighter rules, and builders are stuck with unsold inventory. Corpus Christi's downturn is a brutal reminder. No city, no matter how affordable it once seemed, is safe from speculation, job loss, and climate risk. Unless its economy stabilizes, this coastal market could be one of Texas's fastest collapses.
Number 9. Austin. Austin was once the crown jewel of Texas's housing boom, the tech hub that drew talent from around the world, and the city that symbolized the new Texas dream. For years, its reputation as the Silicon Hills drove housing demand to levels no one thought possible. Home prices doubled in less than a decade, fueled by venture capital, corporate expansions, and a flood of newcomers from California. But in 2025, Austin is unraveling. Tech layoffs have gutted the job market. Startups that once defined the city's culture are shutting their doors, while major employers downsize or shift operations elsewhere. Remote work has emptied downtown towers, weakening the office market and crushing surrounding businesses. The very sector that built Austin's housing boom is now accelerating its collapse. Housing numbers tell the story. Homes that sparked bidding wars in 2021 now linger unsold. Price reductions of 10 to 20% are common, with sellers slashing values just to attract offers. Builders, once racing to meet endless demand, are stuck with unsold developments. Investors who treated Austin like the next San Francisco are pulling back, leaving behind vacancies and rental properties that no longer generate steady income. For families, affordability has collapsed entirely. Wages can't keep up with the inflated prices, and higher mortgage rates have priced many out. Out-migration, once unthinkable in Austin, is beginning as residents seek relief in cheaper Texas towns or neighboring states. Austin's story is dramatic because it shows how quickly a boom town can become a bust. The same forces, tech jobs, migration, and speculation that fueled its meteoric rise are now tearing its housing market apart.
Number 8. Frisco. Frisco, once hailed as one of the fastest-growing suburbs in America, is now facing a housing downturn that few saw coming. Located just north of Dallas, Frisco became a magnet for families and corporations during the boom. With its gleaming schools, sprawling master-planned communities, and professional sports facilities, it was marketed as the model for modern suburban living. Prices soared as demand exploded, with home values nearly doubling in less than a decade. But in 2025, that image of unstoppable growth is cracking. Housing inventory has surged, and homes that once sold in days now sit on the market for months. Price reductions are becoming routine, even in the city's most desirable neighborhoods. Families who bought at the peak of the frenzy are now watching their home values slip below what they owe, a painful reminder of how quickly fortunes can change. The problem is rooted in affordability. Frisco's meteoric rise pushed housing costs far beyond what many families can realistically support. Property taxes are among the highest in Texas, and as mortgage rates remain elevated, middle-class buyers are being priced out. Even wealthier households are starting to hesitate, uncertain about job stability and the direction of the broader economy. Investors who once poured into Frisco's rental market are also retreating. Corporate relocations have slowed, and new construction has created a glut of high-priced homes and apartments. Vacancy rates are climbing, leaving builders and landlords exposed. The suburban dream is colliding with economic reality. Frisco's collapse is symbolic. It was once the poster child for Texas's growth story, shiny, fast, and seemingly unstoppable. But in 2025, it stands as proof that even the most celebrated housing markets are not immune to correction. If demand continues to weaken, Frisco's downturn could deepen into one of the most dramatic housing collapses in the state.
Number 7. San Antonio. San Antonio, long overshadowed by Austin and Dallas, quietly became one of Texas's hottest housing markets during the boom. Prices soared as families and investors sought affordability compared to other major metros. But that growth has flipped into collapse. The city's economy, built on military, healthcare, and service industries, is under strain. Layoffs in healthcare systems, combined with budget pressures on military installations, have weakened job growth. Wages, already below the state average, cannot keep up with inflated housing costs. The result is a sharp slowdown. Homes are sitting longer on the market, price cuts are widespread, foreclosure filings are climbing, builders who once raced to meet demand are scaling back as unsold inventory piles up. Outmigration, once rare, is beginning to accelerate. Families are leaving in search of better opportunities in Dallas or Houston. Investors, too, are pulling back, spooked by falling rents and rising vacancies. San Antonio's cultural richness and military history remains strong, but its housing market is collapsing under the weight of unsustainable growth. Unless job creation rebounds, the downturn could deepen into one of the steepest corrections in Texas.
Number 6. Galveston. Galveston, the island city known for its historic charm and coastal appeal, is now facing one of the sharpest housing downturns in Texas. For years, Galveston's mix of tourism, beachside living, and proximity to Houston made it a popular destination for vacation homes and investment properties. During the pandemic boom, buyers from across Texas and beyond poured in, driving prices to record highs. Waterfront homes that once seemed like bargains quickly doubled in value, while short-term rental demand soared. But in 2025, the market is buckling under pressure. Insurance premiums have skyrocketed to historic levels, in many cases surpassing mortgage payments. With major insurers pulling out of coastal Texas due to rising hurricane risks, many homes are becoming effectively uninsurable and unsellable. For families already stretched thin, This burden is forcing a wave of listings and price cuts across the island. Tourism, Galveston's lifeblood, is also weakening. As consumer debt climbs and travel budgets shrink, rental occupancy rates are down, leaving Airbnb owners and vacation property investors scrambling. What was once a steady source of income is now a liability, pushing more properties back onto the market. Inventory has swelled, and homes linger unsold even after steep discounts. New developments, once marketed as luxury escapes, are slowing or stalling altogether as financing dries up. Meanwhile, wages from local jobs in hospitality and service simply cannot support the inflated housing costs, eroding the foundation of demand. Galveston's collapse is especially striking because it reveals the double vulnerability of coastal cities, economic dependence on tourism, and the growing impact of climate risk. What was once a jewel of the Gulf Coast is now a case study in how quickly housing markets can unravel when insurance, affordability, and job stability collide.
Number 5. Houston. Houston, America's energy capital, is now at the center of one of Texas's steepest housing downturns. For decades, the city thrived on oil and gas wealth, fueling job growth, new construction, and endless suburban sprawl. But in 2025, that foundation is cracking. Layoffs across the energy sector are leaving thousands of families without steady paychecks. Mortgage defaults are rising, and neighborhoods that once boomed during the shale era are seeing sharp drops in value. The ripple effect is unmistakable. When energy jobs vanish, housing demand collapses. Climate risks make the situation even worse. Houston has endured repeated flooding and hurricanes, and the cost of insuring a home here has skyrocketed. Many families now pay more for insurance than for their mortgages, while others are being dropped by insurers altogether. In flood-prone areas, some homes are nearly impossible to sell. Oversupply compounds the crisis. Houston's zoning-free growth allowed developers to build endlessly during the boom. Now those subdivisions are filling with unsold homes, and builders are cutting prices to move inventory. Investors, once bullish on the market, are pulling back as profits vanish. Houston still has strengths in healthcare and aerospace, but they cannot offset the combined weight of energy layoffs, insurance crises, and overbuilding. For the nation's fourth-largest city, the collapse isn't just local. It's a warning that even powerhouse metros aren't immune when jobs and climate collide.
Number 4. Round Rock. Round Rock, just north of Austin, was once the poster child for Texas's suburban boom. Anchored by major employers like Dell Technologies and fueled by Austin's tech surge, it became one of the fastest-growing housing markets in the state. Families flocked to Round Rock for its schools, master-planned communities, and the promise of affordability compared to Austin itself. Home prices soared, doubling in some neighborhoods in less than a decade. But in 2025, the shine is fading. Tech layoffs across Central Texas are hitting Round Rock hard. Thousands of jobs that once supported steady demand for homes are disappearing, and remote work has weakened the need to live near corporate campuses. The very jobs that built Round Rock's boom are now unraveling its housing market. Signs of distress are everywhere. Luxury homes that once sold in bidding wars now sit unsold for months. Sellers slash prices by tens of thousands, while buyers hesitate, worried about job security and rising mortgage costs. Inventory has surged, and new subdivisions are filling with unsold homes as builders struggle to offload properties. What makes Round Rock's downturn striking is its reputation. For years, it was marketed as one of Texas's best places to raise a family. Safe, affordable, and stable. But in 2025, that image is cracking. Affordability has collapsed, property taxes keep climbing, and families are reconsidering whether staying here makes financial sense. Round Rock's housing collapse shows that even thriving suburbs, tied too closely to volatile industries like tech, are not immune. If layoffs continue and outmigration grows, this once celebrated community could become one of the fastest falling housing markets in Texas.
Number 3. Dallas. Dallas, the powerhouse of North Texas, was once the shining symbol of Texas's housing boom. Corporate relocations poured in, tech companies set up regional hubs, and finance, healthcare, and retail created an economic juggernaut. Families and investors rushed to the metro, driving home prices sky high. In some neighborhoods, values doubled within a decade, and Dallas became one of the hottest markets in the nation. But in 2025, the cracks are undeniable. Job losses across retail, finance, and tech are eroding the foundation of the city's growth. Remote work has hollowed out office demand, leaving major towers downtown half empty. Corporate expansions have slowed, and layoffs are spreading, leaving thousands of workers uncertain about their future. The housing market is feeling the shock. Homes that once ignited bidding wars now linger unsold. Price cuts of 10 to 20% are common across both suburbs and the urban core. Builders who once couldn't keep up with demand are sitting on unsold developments, while investors retreat from what was once a sure bet. Rental vacancies are rising, putting even more pressure on landlords and developers. Affordability has collapsed. Property taxes, already among the highest in the state, are pushing middle-class families to the breaking point. Outmigration is growing, with residents leaving for cheaper states like Oklahoma and Arkansas, eroding local demand even further. Dallas's decline is particularly dramatic because of its scale. As one of the largest metros in America, its housing downturn ripples across the national economy. A city once hailed as the engine of Texas growth is now at the center of one of the fastest collapses in the state.
Number 2. Missouri City. Missouri City, a suburban community just outside Houston, was once considered one of the most stable housing markets in the region. Families flocked here for its good schools, quiet neighborhoods, and relative affordability compared to Houston's urban core. During the pandemic boom, demand surged, and home prices jumped at unprecedented rates. Investors joined in, treating Missouri City as a safe bet in the middle of Texas's rapid growth. But in 2025, that stability is unraveling. Job losses in the greater Houston area, particularly in the energy, shipping, and retail sectors, are spilling into Missouri City. Families who once commuted to Houston for high-paying jobs are now struggling to keep up with rising mortgage payments. Foreclosures, once rare in this suburban haven, are starting to climb. The housing market itself shows the pressure. Inventory is swelling as more families put their homes up for sale, hoping to exit before prices fall further. Listings linger for months, and price cuts are becoming the norm. Even in once desirable neighborhoods, sellers are forced to slash tens of thousands off asking prices just to attract buyers. Builders who aggressively expanded during the boom now face unsold properties and slowing demand. Affordability is collapsing under the weight of property taxes and skyrocketing insurance premiums, especially in flood-prone areas near Houston's bayous. Some homeowners are paying nearly as much for insurance as for their mortgages, making long-term stability nearly impossible. For investors, Missouri City has shifted from a safe bet to a risky gamble, with rental demand weakening and vacancies rising. What makes Missouri City's downturn striking is how quickly perception has changed. Once marketed as one of the most desirable suburbs of Houston, it is now caught in the same downward spiral as the city itself. As jobs vanish and affordability erodes, Missouri City's housing collapse is proving that no suburb, no matter how seemingly insulated, is immune to the wider economic storm sweeping across Texas.
Number 1. Flower Mound. Flower Mound, once the crown jewel of North Texas suburbs, is now at the center of one of the most alarming housing downturns in the state. For years, this affluent community was considered untouchable. Families flocked here for its top-ranked schools, sprawling, master-planned neighborhoods, and its reputation as one of the safest, most desirable places to live near Dallas-Fort Worth. During the pandemic boom, demand skyrocketed, and home prices soared to record highs.
Bidding wars became routine, with buyers paying tens of thousands over asking just to secure a property. But in 2025, the collapse is undeniable. Inventory has surged, and homes that once vanished in days now sit unsold for months. Price cuts are steep, often 10 to 20% below peak values, and luxury listings linger with little interest. Families who stretch their budgets to buy at the top of the market are now underwater, owing more on their mortgages than their homes are worth. The roots of the downturn lie in affordability. Flower Mound's rapid rise pushed housing far beyond what most middle-class families can sustain. Property taxes, among the highest in Texas, have become a crushing burden, especially as inflation squeezes household budgets. With mortgage rates staying elevated, many buyers are simply priced out. Job losses across the Dallas-Fort Worth metro add to the pressure. As corporations downsize and remote work reshapes office demand, fewer high-paying jobs remain to support Flower Mound's inflated housing costs. Outmigration is rising as families flee to cheaper suburbs or even out of state. Builders, once confident in endless demand, are now left holding unsold homes, and investors are retreating as rental vacancies grow. What makes Flower Mound's collapse so dramatic is its reputation. This was the suburb everyone aspired to, polished, stable, and immune to the volatility that hit other Texas markets. But in 2025, that illusion has shattered. Flower Mound now stands as proof that no community, no matter how wealthy or desirable, is safe when affordability, taxes, and job losses collide.
Texas has always been a land of ambition and growth, a place where families came searching for stability, affordability, and opportunity. But in 2025, the truth is clear. From Houston to Dallas, from Austin to Flower Mound, the housing boom that once defined the state is collapsing under its own weight. Prices are falling, inventories are swelling, and the jobs that once fueled the miracle are vanishing. For millions of families, the Texas dream is slipping away. What was supposed to be the promise of a better life has, for many, become a struggle to hold on to homes, communities, and futures that no longer feel secure. This countdown has shown us more than numbers and statistics. It has revealed the human cost of overvaluation, speculation, and fragile economic foundations. And it reminds us of a hard truth. No market, no matter how strong it looks, is immune to collapse. Thank you for watching Discover the Nation. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to subscribe and stay with us as we continue to uncover the hidden stories shaping America's housing market, economy, and future. The next chapter is already being written, and we'll be here to tell it.